Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clayton Zoka, and welcome to my films from worst to best of 2019. And Happy New Year also. We're now into a new year, but not only that, a new decade. Wow, that's crazy. So, I thought, why not have the perfect opportunity to talk about the films I enjoyed and the ones that I thought were okay and the ones I suffered through and hated. Now, just like last time, this is just my opinion. And I've seen 48 films. The 48th film is the worst, and of course, the number one film is the best. So, without any further ado, let's get this done and over with, shall we? So, at 48, the worst film I have seen this year, and if you know me, you should probably know that I hate this film with a passion, and I mean that in a very negative way. The Queens Corgi. It's corky shit. Alright, moving on. Alright, at 47 we have Playmobil the movie, which is basically trying to be the Lego movie, only with Playmobil, and it's a lot worse. Yeah, the animation's okay, the voice acting's not too bad, and I like Daniel Radcliffe. Before I was going to say Daniel Craig, because he's playing a character. Daniel Radcliffe is playing a character that's like Daniel Craig, and he's a super spy. Yeah, this movie's fucking stupid. It's just copying everything that made the Lego movie great. Even the Lego movie 2 with its musical songs. I do like a few of them, but most of them are just bland and uninspired. Even the live action scenes is just... It There's no doubt that this film is hiding its true form of trying to be the Lego movie. The Lego movie and even the Legos are just so creative and fun. Playmobil's very basic and not very interesting. Same can be said about the movie. So if you want to have fun, why not just play with Legos and watch the Lego movie? Forget Playmobil, forget the Playmobil movie, because it's fucking shit. Right then, coming in at 46 is a Disney remake that I actually fucking hate. And this is the second highest grossing film of the year and quote unquote highest grossing quote unquote animated film of all time. Oh, The Lion King. This is so damn lifeless. The film is lifeless, it's boring, it has no heart and soul put into it. It's just the animated film, but with very, very small changes. Jon Favreau, what have you done? I've heard The Mandalorian's doing well, and you did The Jungle Book, which was great, and I really liked that. You did Elf, you did Iron Man. What happened? I mean, it looks gorgeous, and the actors do try their best with the characters and the materials that they're given to voice and do. But it just doesn't save this train wreck of a abomination. This is why I've stopped watching these remakes, because there's nothing fresh or original about it. Unless Mulan gets really good reviews, for now, it's a big no-no. I'm just so sick of these goddamn Disney remakes, and I wish Disney would stop making them, but you know what it's like, don't you? It's all about the monies. So fuck this remake and watch the original film. So coming in at 45 is another animated film that I really didn't like that much. Ugly Dolls. While technically this is better than the other two that I mentioned on the list, it's still pretty mediocre and kind of forgettable. The animation's okay, the voice acting's fine, I like Broken and Beautiful and Unbreakable. The only two songs that I actually like in the film, funnily enough. The film's not very funny, it has a few clever visual gags. The story's quite boring, and it does rip off Trolls and the Lego Movie quite a lot. Although Trolls does rip off the Lego Movie also. But anyways, the message about being yourself is incredibly preachy. You've seen this before. And even Lou, the main villain's just kind of not very interesting. So you can, the kids can watch this fine. It's not a problem. But if you're expecting Pixar quality, you're not going to find it from this ugly mess. Even though it's more of a mediocre mess. But still, it's in the title. But you know what I mean. Right then, at 44, we have Instant Family. A film that many people seem to enjoy, but personally for me, it was It was average, not interesting, a bit boring, not very funny. The acting's pretty good, especially from Mark Wahlberg, Rose Byrne, Octavia Spencer. The kids are fine. But the story, it had heart. I'll give it that. It does have heart to it. But it's bland. It tries too hard to be funny, especially with one of... I fucking hate this. When the little girl tries to be funny by saying simple things that will just make anyone laugh because it's trying to throw in a quick joke just for the sake of it, instead of something clever and thought-provoking. So, not awful. It really isn't, but it is just meh. I guess the family would enjoy this, or foster people, but it's not really for me. Alright, we are now at 43. We've got another animated film, The Addams Family. For someone who's not really into The Addams Family, or in other words, I never, I don't really know that much about them, this could have been a great introduction to them. It wasn't. Yeah, the voice acting is pretty spot on, and the directing's okay, along with some chuckle-worthy moments, but visually it's ugly and cheap. It's not very funny, it's boring, generic. This is kind of like what the other animated films on the worst list are, only they did it worse. This film, I did kind of, enjoy, but there wasn't a lot to get out of it. It was just a mess. The family's not very likeable, and even the humans are even more unlikable. This could have been a lot better, but apparently there's a sequel in the works, which baffles me for some reason, because this film's not that good. But let's hope the sequel's better. Hope is the correct word. Alright, at 42 we have another remake from Disney, and this one is Aladdin. It was alright. The film's not very memorable, and the original's obviously way better. But Will Smith's okay as the genie. Visually it looks nice. Jasmine, who's played by Naomi Scott, is okay. The songs are okay. Speechless is forgettable as hell. Guy Ritchie's directing's off. It was okay. It was just a perfectly watchable, Disney film. Split in the middle in terms of remakes and live action films. It's easily just a weak film. Not terrible, not good, just okay. Alright, we're now heading into 41, and we've got Brightburn. This film could have been a lot better. It has a cool premise, it has good acting, and, there are some very fascinatingly fun scenes, but at times it has shock value just for the sake of it. It's not interesting, it's generic. It could have a very, very well executed story, but it didn't. But in the end, it kind of left me confused and a bit baffled by the end. And I know people probably went to see this because of freaking James Gunn being a producer, but no. This film's not terrible. It just could have been a hell of a lot better. Okay, we are now getting to 40. And we've got Pokemon Detective Pikachu, or just Detective Pikachu. As someone who's not really a fan of Pokemon, this was just an okay, watchable kids film. Ryan Reynolds is okay. He's good as Pikachu. A bit distracting, obviously. Although I think the best performances are from him, Bill Nye, Justice Smith is okay. The visuals are quite stunning and they're quite colourful. There are a few battle scenes that are fun to watch. That's about it. Story's not very interesting and it's pretty predictable. And you know exactly where it's going. And some of the elements in the film I didn't quite understand. They were a little hard to follow, at least for me. So, okay film, perfectly fine, but not a film I would watch again. Especially for someone who's not a fan of Pokemon. And now we've got 39. This one is a Marvel film that people are completely split by. Captain Marvel. This is just a very cookie cutter, boring, uninteresting, and very, very forgettable Marvel film. Brie Larson is not very good as Captain Marvel, and even Captain Marvel's just boring. Samuel L. Jackson is at least, fun to watch and all that. It has nice visuals, I guess. The humour's not very funny at all, but there were a few times I did chuckle at it. Jude Law's pretty good, and that's about it. Not one of the worst Marvel films, but compared to this year, this is easily the one that's going to be forgotten. I mean, when you compare it to the other two, that's saying a lot. But Captain Marvel is just a very forgettable, cookie-cutter Marvel film. Alright, so we are at 38, and we've got an animated sequel this time. A sequel that's slightly better than its predecessor, and that is The Angry Birds Movie 2. While it's not good or great, I actually kind of enjoyed this a little bit more than the first film. With a different director, the comedy, the animation gags, the characters, the voice acting, it's all changed. It's funnier, it looks more beautiful, it's more fun, it's not necessarily boring. The plot, while still cliched, is funny, it has funny visual gags, and the voice acting's fantastic. Especially Zeta, the villain, Silver, and even some of the returning characters I also enjoy. Yes, it has its juvenile moments and predictable moments, but it's still just another really fun animated sequel that knows exactly what it wants to be. Just a really fun film. And this is one that I'm certain that Angry Birds fans and even the family will certainly enjoy. We're going into 37, and this is yet another film that people are entirely split by, and that is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'm just happy this trilogy's ended. It's got a very wonky and rocky plot. It's visually stunning, although a bit grey. Most of the characters are kind of useless, although I do like Rey and Kylo Ren. The acting's great. The score by John Williams is great. J.J. Abrams' directing is fine. It's just an okay Star Wars film. Slightly better than Last Jedi and Solo, but not quite as great as like Force Awakens or Rogue One. I'm just wondering how The Mandalorian's doing. Oh wait, that's doing well. I really want to see that, but Disney Plus is not out in the UK until freaking March. But as for this, it's okay. I'm just happy it's over. That means no more Star Wars until I watch Mandalorian. Or maybe there's like another spin-off, film. But, hey. It could have been a lot worse, I suppose. Alright, now we're heading on to 36. And we have got another Disney remake that I kind of like. It's still not that good, but, it's decent. Dumbo. Okay, the original film's better, just like the other two remakes, but unlike the other two remakes, this film was actually quite fun to watch. It has gorgeous visuals. It has great acting, especially from Colin Farrell and Michael Keaton. Dumbo is adorable. Danny Elfman's score is great, and Tim Burton's directing is fine. Yeah, the story is very lacking, and it's a bit generic and all that stuff, but it wasn't half bad. I will easily watch this over the other two, but again, it is still just a decent remake that, at least it did something different, so that's all I can say. Well done, Burton. At least this wasn't like freaking Alice in Wonderland. Now we're going into 35. Hey, how about that then, eh? So we've got a horror sequel. We've got It Chapter 2, which was good. It was fun. But the first It was way better. The story was a bit all over the place. It was silly and unintentionally silly. The third act especially was silly. However, it has great acting, it has beautiful visuals, great music, Pennywise is creepy as always, and it does keep to the spirit of the first film. A little bit. It does kind of take away a little bit of it, which makes this film a bit of a downgrade compared to It Chapter 1. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a good film. Not terrible, but It Chapter 1 was way better. Alright, heading into number 34 is Midsummer, and this is from the same director of Hereditary, probably the scariest film I've ever seen. This one, I would say, is a little more disturbing than Hereditary. Hereditary, I think, is a much better film than this, but this kind of rubbed me on the wrong way. It's disturbing, it has great acting, it's visually nice, kind of like It and It Chapter 2. And I like the idea of it. It kind of reminds me a bit of Far Cry 5, if you think about it. However, the film, kind of like Hereditary, is complex, which is good. It does have some moments where I was left confused, funnily enough. And after the experience, you just don't know what else to say. It is a really disturbing film. Although the plot structure and how everything else ends, it leaves you with more questions and you're still left baffled and confused. While it's not as great as Hereditary, it is still a pretty pleasant and, I guess, enjoyable horror film to watch, even if it looks peaceful and beautiful. At number 33 is a film that I consider underrated and kind of underappreciated. And this is one that you're going to be very surprised by, and that's Wonder Park. I can see why people don't like it. I can see why people like it. I actually like it, despite the problematic flaws. It's well animated, it's got great voice acting, the story sounded quite promising. But however, since the director's fired, the film just finished like that. Like, no one came in to finish it properly, it just finished like that. This film could have been so much better about childhood and imagination, but as it is, I thought it was pretty good. Yes, it has very unfunny moments and the plot is predictable, but there could have been so much more to this. I'd say this is one of the better Nickelodeon movie films, but it's not in the top 5, I can tell you that much. But it is a film that I do consider underrated and underappreciated, so I do like Wonder Park. And I hope the TV show will be better. I mean, I highly doubt it, but you never know. Now we're up to 32, and next up we have Lita, a Battle Angel. And this is a film that I enjoyed. I don't really know that much about the anime, but this was surprising. The main actress who plays Lita is great, Christoph Waltz is great, everyone in the film's great. It's well directed, it looks beautiful, it's got great action. I can see why people don't like it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just great fun, and I believe there could be a sequel coming along. Not sure, but I hope so, because I kind of like to see where this film goes. So overall, I really enjoyed it, despite some flaws here and there, but still really damn fun. At 31 now, we have another animated sequel. We have The Secret Life of Pets 2, which was kind of a pleasant surprise. The first film was good, but a bit disappointing, at least for me. This one did a little bit more than what the first film did. It still has the great animation, the entertaining voice acting, the great characters, it's epic, it's still funny. However, the three plots don't really come together or have anything in common with each other. It's just kind of thrown in for filler, but it's good filler. I really enjoyed the sequel despite its flaws, and I hope to see more great stuff from Illumination. As long as it's not Despicable Me related, then it should be fine. Alright, heading into number 30, and we have another pleasantly surprising film, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. And this is way better than the actual show. It's very self-aware, it's funny at times. The actress who plays Dora is pretty spot on. It does have some pretty creative and fun action scenes, it has heart. It is a really decent family film, even with its weird tone and really forgettable characters. But still, this is another really pleasant surprise from Nickelodeon Movies. Alright, now we're heading into number 29, and we have another recent sequel that's better than Rise of Skywalker, and that's Jumanji: The Next Level. And while I think Welcome to the Jungle's better, this still has some of the big elements that made Welcome to the Jungle fun, with its big action, great humour, great cast, beautiful visuals, and lots of self-aware video game humour. I mean, yeah, it still has a weak villain and all, but it's still just another great time at the cinema with these adventurers. Now into 28 is another recent film. The last film I actually saw, and the last film I saw of last year and the last decade. It's Blue Sky's Spies in Disguise. Well, I was actually surprised by this film. This film had everything that I wanted from Blue Sky. It has humour that's even more self-aware and actually more funny. The animation is a big improvement over the last few films. There's great acting, especially from Tom Holland and Will Smith. The action is big and creative. Yeah, it's silly and it's juvenile, and the plot's very predictable, but it's probably one of the better films from the studio. I mean, Peanuts and Ice Age is better, but with this, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping with Disney under their name, I hope they'll make some great, more great films. But please, no more Ice Age sequels, that's all I ask. We're stepping into 27 now, and we're getting even more big surprises of this year. One of them is The Kid Who Wants to Be King, or something like that. This is directed by Joe Cornish, who did Attack of the Block. I've never seen that, but with this, I thought it was going to be shit. I was wrong. This film was really fun. It kind of reminded me of being a kid. The actors who play the kids are great. Patrick Stewart is always great. It's fun. It's hilarious. It has some nice visuals. It's hilarious. It's fun. Kids can easily watch this and get stuck and sucked into the story. It's just another great film for the family to watch. Probably one of the better surprises of this year. Coming into 26 is The Long Shot. This one stars Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. This was another really fun comedy, but unlike most of the comedies on here that are mainly for kids and families, this one's for adults. This one's funny, clever. It's got great acting, especially from Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. Their chemistry is hilarious and believable at times. But another film I was just pleasantly surprised by, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. And who knows, maybe Seth Rogen will be in better films now since that freaking Lion King remake. To be fair, he was the best thing about it, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it because it is funny and it has something that you can take away from it, and I certainly did with this new comedy classic. Slipping onto 25 is another animated film that I really enjoyed. Abominable. Everest is very cute. The characters, especially the three main characters, are likable and well acted enough. It's beautiful at times, it's action packed, it has some pretty funny gags, and it's funny. It is hilarious. Of course, it's not one of the better DreamWorks films out there, to be honest, but it is better than like Home, Trolls, Boss Baby, and all that. But again, it has some nice moments, and it's a nice family film also. So if you have some kids who are interested in Yetis, who are tired of, I don't know, Smallfoot, they will enjoy this. I mean, for me personally, I prefer Smallfoot, but this is a film that I will still watch no matter what. Alright, at 24, it's a film that I watched on Netflix, and I didn't have the chance to talk about it, but here it is. It's Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. And for someone who hasn't really watched that much of Martin Scorsese, I thought this film was legit great. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci's performances are fantastic. It's visually great. The storytelling is great also. It is really funny. It has great action, even though there's not that many in it. And it's interesting to learn the story of Jimmy Hoffa. However, I'll admit the 3-hour long running time, the film does kind of drag on a little bit near the end. If this was like 2 hours, I would have been fine, but nonetheless, I did really enjoy the film a lot, and I hope I can maybe watch a lot more Martin Scorsese films. Right, we're walking into 23 now, when we've got the Lego Movie 2, or the Lego Movie 2, the second part, but in the UK it's just called the Lego Movie 2. What a great coming back to form. I loved the first Lego movie. I really liked Lego Batman. Lego Ninjago was enjoyable, but not as great as the other Lego movie films. But this one was so much better than Ninjago. It still has the great humour, it still has the amazing animation, the great voice acting, it's creative, the songs are hilarious and memorable. Although it does get quite predictable, and it does kind of lose a little bit of what made the first film great with the live action scenes, and it can be quite obvious as to what's going to happen next, but besides that, I had a great time, and it is still awesome. Alright, up to 22 now, and we have a film that technically came out last year, but it does count that it came out this year. And that's what the UK does with these Oscar films. They release them in February or January for this year instead of November or December. Green Book, a very satisfying film about race, a bit of culture, friendship, and so much more. The acting, especially from Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, is great. Their chemistry is great. It's funny, it's well shot, it has memorable moments. It's especially heartwarming, even near the end. I wouldn't necessarily say this is the Best Picture Oscar winner. That would go to the favourite, actually. But still a very satisfying film either way. Okay, up to 21, we have a film that you would expect to be higher on the list. Sorry, not possible. If you find it higher on the list, good, that's fine, it's your opinion. Avengers Endgame. They should have ended this whole cinematic universe here. The film is funny, although I would say the humour is a bit hit and miss, but still hilarious at times. I like most of the characters here. They're relatable, funny, charismatic. It's enjoyable, especially the third act, which was awesome and pretty emotional. I enjoyed Rocket the most, I enjoyed Thor, I enjoyed Captain America, I loved all these characters. Although personally for me, I think they should have just ended all the cinematic universes here, but either way, I enjoyed it. Okay, we're going into number 20, and this is yet another Oscar film, even though it only got nominated for 3, and that is Can You Ever Forgive Me? This is the best performance from Melissa McCarthy, Richard E. Grant. It's great, as always. It's interesting, it's funny, it's emotional, it's got a great story behind it. Not much else to say. I just simply was quite fascinated, and I was simply enjoying the film, and it had a nice ending to it, and I thought it was great. At number 19, another Oscar film that should have won Best Picture, The Favourite. It has great performances by Rachel Weisz, I think that's how you pronounce her second name, Olivia Colman, and one of my favourite actresses of all time, Emma Stone. It's visually well done, it's funny at times, it's complex, it's fascinating, and even just odd and interesting to watch. I haven't really seen that much from this director at all, but this film was certainly fun. Right, we're coming into number 18 now, and we've got the Jordan Peele horror film Us. This is not as great as Get Out, although I think visual wise, I think this film visually looks better than Get Out. It has great acting, it has great suspense, it has some pretty fun and creative jump scares, and it's quite fun and awesome at times. However, it does have something that's quite complicated. It's too clever for me, unlike Get Out, which I kind of understood, but Us is still a really enjoyable horror satire film from Jordan Peele, and I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm actually interested. At number 17, we got another animated sequel that came out quite recently, and it's doing pretty well box office wise. Yeah, you know what it is. Frozen 2. I like the first Frozen more, but this still is fun. Its humour's a bit childish, but pretty hilarious. The animation is gorgeous. I love the sister bonding between Anna and Elsa. Olaf is hilarious as always. Kristoff and Zen is great. I love the songs, especially Into the Unknown, of course. And I thought the film ended quite nicely. So, not one of the best sequels. I prefer Ralph Breaks the Internet, but it is still a great Disney film, even if it is there to milk in some more songs. But families will enjoy it, fans will adore it. I had a great time with Frozen 2. Alright, heading into number 16, we have a film that I would have liked a lot more, but I still think it's quite incredible. This one's called I Lost My Body. The best things about the film is the animation. It looks beautiful, it's artistic, and it's gorgeous. And even the English dub, the voice acting's great, especially from Dev Patel. And the story about a hand that's been cut off from its owner trying to look for its owner is interesting. However, the film is a bit too complex, and when I say too, I mean too complex. It's confusing, and by the end, and by the third act especially, the film just... I got lost completely. I'm sure there's like a hidden meaning in this film, but I don't see it. It's a pretty great art house film, but it could have been a hell of a lot more powerful. Alright, now we're at number 15, and we have got Shazam! Easily one of the biggest surprises of the year, and I'd probably say it's the best DC Extended Universe film. It's really funny, the concept is quite clever. Shazam or Billy himself is hilarious. The acting, especially from Mark Strong and Zachary Levi, is great. It's action-packed, self-aware. I want to see more of this character. Shazam is just a blast to watch. Although there's another certain DC film that's better, but Shazam is certainly a real big surprise. Alright, number 14. We have John Wick Chapter 3. Although I think John Wick Chapter 2 is the best, and I still love the first John Wick, this film, or should I say this sequel, is still a lot of fun. Keanu Reeves is still kicking ass, and even Halle Berry is too. It has the creative, fun visuals, it has some interesting twists and turns, although I think sometimes the film can sometimes get a bit confusing, but Keanu Reeves, you're breathtaking. Sorry, I had to. Ooh, we're at number 13, and we have a biopic, and one that's actually a lot better than Bohemian Rhapsody. Rocketman. Wow, Dexter Fletcher, you've really outdone yourself here. Taron Egerton gives probably the best performance from him. The biopic is interesting, it's funny, tragic, emotional, beautiful, the songs are amazing. Elton John's life is interesting and even at times relatable. And while I think Bohemian Rhapsody is, I like Bohemian Rhapsody a lot, but I think this is a lot better. Can't wait to see what Dexter Fletcher does next, and I hope Taron Egerton gets a Oscar nomination for his performance. He deserves it. Okay, we're at number 12, and this is, I think, the last film on this list that I haven't reviewed, and that is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just like with Martin Scorsese, I didn't really watch that much of Quentin Tarantino. So this is like the first feature film I've seen from him, and I kind of loved it. Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie's performances are great. It's funny, it's visually gorgeous, it has a great score, it's interesting. Although it did kind of end just eruptedly. It felt short, and there wasn't a lot of drama to it. But besides all those tiny flaws, I had a great time with this first film that I saw of Tarantino. At number 11, we have the new animated film from Laika. That's right, Missing Link. I say this is probably the second best Laika film, with Kubo as the number one. Although I like all of them, I like all the Laika films. I like Coraline, I like Paranorman. Box Trolls was great, but not quite as amazing as the other films. But Missing Link is funny, it's charming, it has great voice acting, the animation is beyond amazing. The voice acting, especially from Zach Galifianakis, Hugh Jackman, and Zoe Saldana, is fitting and phenomenal. The score by Carter Burwell is great, and the song Do Dilly Do, or Friend Like You, is catchy. Although the villains are quite weak and the story is a bit predictable, but it still has heart, it still has charm, and Chris Butler did an excellent job directing it, and I hope to see what Laika makes next. Oh, we're getting into the top 10 now, so we are nearly there. Number 10 is Booksmart. A really good coming-of-age film about these two girls just trying to have a good time, and they're the only ones that are good, like the ones that are getting all the big grades. This is funny, this is well acted. Olivia Wilde did a great job directing this. It's well shot. It gives you that great feeling of what it's like to be at a teenage party. I had a great time with Booksmart, and I hope it does actually win some awards or nominations even. It's got one Golden Globe, but who knows, at the Oscars. But yeah, overall, really damn funny film. That's also just another great coming-of-age film also. Okay, number 9 is another film that got released last year, but in the UK it got released, I think, around February time. If Beale Street, let's try that again. If Beale Street could talk. A really powerful, really lovely, really gorgeous, and perfectly understandable film about two couples. The boyfriend's in jail and the other one's having a baby. You've seen this before, but it's done with some real acting, some real emotion, some great directing by Barry Jenkins. It's a really, really lovely and heartbreaking film. And I actually saw this in college in a film club, and I absolutely adored it. And I probably might watch Moonlight because that's what Jenkins also directed. But overall, fantastic film. Okay, with number 8, I just realised I didn't do my thoughts on this film either, so this is actually the last film I haven't reviewed. Marriage Story on Netflix again. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson bring out the best performances of the year. It's a lovely film, it's real, it feels emotional. These characters bring out real performances, especially from Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, as explained. The kid's really good, and it's a really understandable film about separation and divorce and family. And I don't know, I think Kylo Ren and Black Widow are a pretty good couple together. I really love this film. I think it's a really heartfelt film, really heartbreaking, and really lovely too. Simply just a really gorgeous and well acted film. And number 7, another Netflix film that's now getting some sort of like a cult following, like a very instant classic film. But it is now one of the best Christmas films. That is Klaus, or Klaus. This film is one of the best looking animated films I've ever seen. It's a mix between 3D and 2D animation. The characters are all funny, likeable, especially with Klaus and Jasper, who are both funny, emotional, and relatable. The voice acting is great. Sergio Pablos did a great job directing the film. It has a deeper meaning. The story, while not original, is engaging. I just love the idea of the myth of Klaus. I just hope there's going to be more Christmas classics like this one. Although I prefer like After Christmas and Nightmare Before Christmas, I'd probably say this is my third favourite Christmas film. And this is coming from someone who loves Christmas. Alright, we're headed into I was going to say number 5, but it's number 6. And this is my favourite Marvel film out of the 3 of this year. Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't know why, I just love the films that include Spider-Man, whether it's Into the Spider-Verse, which is only just one film, or anything with Tom Holland, really. It still has the big action, the big charming characters, the big comedy, the big villains, just like Homecoming. And this is why I really enjoy it. It's just a simple, fun, hilarious film that I can easily watch instead of watching something that's pandering, boring, or dull. And this film is not that. And I'm really excited for the next Spider-Man adventure. Oh my god, we're now in the top 5. Oh, we're so close. At the exact number 5 is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. A great finish to a great DreamWorks franchise, or now trilogy. I like the first film, even though it's not perfect. I do really like it. The sequel, How to Train Your Dragon 2, is fantastic. The Hidden World is not only the best out of all of them, but I think it's the best DreamWorks film. It has the big animation that's beautiful. Toothless and Hiccup's relationship or friendship is amazing. The villain Grimmel is intense. The characters are funny and memorable. The score by John Powell's amazing, and it has a very, very nice emotional ending to it. I don't think any more films is necessary, but DreamWorks ended off this trilogy with wings. And a very cute looking dragon. I mean, come on, Toothless is freaking adorable. And the Light Fury. I mean, how can you top that? You can't. At number 4, we have a original film, a original whodunit. Knives Out by Ryan Johnson, easily way better than what he did with Last Jedi. It's got a big cast that everyone delivers a great performance, especially Daniel Craig. It's visually stunning, it's well executed in plot, the comedy is funny and clever, it has a deep, complex thought into it, it's emotional, it's interesting, and yeah, it can get a little bit predictable when you put the dots together, but it's just a really fun, really original, really well acted, and very well directed film. So, well done, Ryan Johnson. You actually made a film that I liked from you. At number 3, remember when I said Shazam wasn't the best DC film of this year? This one technically is. And yes, this is probably one of the most talked about films of this year. Joker. This movie fucking blew me away. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, the way he portrays the Joker, aka slash Arthur, it's visually grey but spectacular looking. There are many awesome moments, there are moments of intense drama and even scary moments. You can relate to Arthur, he's physically unwell and he looks sad, and you can see why this character is getting punished like this. Todd Phillips did an amazing job directing this, and I can't wait for Joker 2. We're getting close. Number 2 is a film that's been released in the UK, not quite out in the US yet, and that is a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, or Farmageddon, a Shaun the Sheep movie. Seriously, just a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. This is probably the most fun I had at the cinema all year, besides number 1, of course. This film has the traditional Aardman stuff, the animation, the silent comedy, the great characters, the great slapstick, the great jokes, the great soundtrack. It is fantastic. I love the first Shaun the Sheep film, I love Aardman, I love Wallace and Gromit, I even love the show, but I think this is quite possibly the best Aardman film for me. I know I mean, I like it a lot more than the first film. I love the first film, but this film was just funny, cute, sweet, heartfelt, hilarious, visually wonderful. Stop motion is always amazing. And I hope Aardman makes more great films. I really do. But overall, a great, fantastic, hilarious, family animated film. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're here. The number 1 best film I have seen all year, and you're going to be very surprised by this. Let me just get the list here. Here we go. Cats. Wait, hang on. That doesn't seem right. I mean, I haven't seen the film, and it looks like fucking cat shit. No. I mean, who even saw Cats? No one. I mean, a few critics have and slammed it, but no, it's not Cats. No, number 1 is Toy Story 4. This is the film that I was dreading. Not entirely, because Toy Story 3 ended off perfectly, but Toy Story 4 delivered us something special. I grew up with Toy Story. I'm a huge Pixar fan. This film was absolutely special. The animation is at its best. Forky's likeable. I love Gabby Gabby. I even really liked Bunny and Ducky. Woody is more fleshed out than ever. Buzz, while a little bit useless, is still got the great chemistry with Woody, and their friendship is still believable. It's great to see Bo Peep back in this world, and the ending always makes me cry. It always does. The only 3 films that made me cry this year was How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, Toy Story 4, and Frozen 2, believe it or not. The voice acting is great. Josh Cooley did a excellent job directing this film, and I'm hoping this will be a great start for 2020. You got Onward, you got Soul. I hope Pixar continues to do what they love best. So that's right. Toy Story 4 is my number 1 favourite film of 2019. Whew. What a decade, am I right? What a year also. Thank you guys for sitting through my films from worst to best of 2019. I hope you enjoyed them. And let me know below what you thought was good and bad and mediocre. And let's see how 2020 is going to give us. I mean, what 2020 is going to give us. However, I won't be doing the films I'm looking forward to in 2020 because I thought... Because there's no point to it, because I can always surprise my viewers with what films I'm going to see without giving it away. I mean, I do say it in my reviews, but that's kind of part of the surprise. I don't want to give all of it away in just one video. Anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, Happy New Year, and bye for now.